All right, let's get it. Now I got one prediction wrong. At the last minute, I took Manon over Valentina Shevchenko, and I got that wrong. Valentina Shevchenko won that fight. But for me, even though that was the title fight, this fight to me stood out the most. So I'm going to start off in my review of all three fights with this fight. And I'm going to switch things up a little bit. And I'm going to start off with the comments left by people on WMMA rankings. Shout out to WMMA rankings. They should actually get a YouTube channel and do what I'm doing. We actually help promote WMMA rankings. Anyway, look at this. Natalia Track Star Silva. This is the first narrative I want to tackle. That was not a case of a fighter running. No, it was not. And I told y'all before the fight started that this would be a problem for Alexa Grasso. I said in my prediction that there's a good chance that Grasso gets shut out all 3 rounds and that this is actually a lopsided fight. Oh yeah. Y'all know me. I'm going to take my credit. People don't like to give me credit. They don't like to say, look, Attic predicted this fight through and through, so I got to take it. If you look at how this fight unfolded, I predicted that it would unfold exactly the way that it did. That Grasso would be overwhelmed. That she would not have better boxing, better hands. That she would not be the faster fighter. I said this before the fight, and that's exactly what you saw. That's what you saw. I didn't think the speed gap would be that significant. It was actually more significant than I thought it would be. The speed gap. There's a significant gap. Now, right about now, I want to reflect on what I said before the fight. Some of the things I said before the fight. Up there in height with these little... Let me see. Sorry about that. Bear with me here. She will throw kicks to her. I should have done this before I started the stream. Just bear with me here. Happy both of them made weight. Okay, here we go. I found it. Because I usually don't get predictions correct this thoroughly. But I pretty much predicted how this would unfold, like, thoroughly. And I'm taking Natalia Silva. We all know Alexa Grasso is basically a boxer inside of a cage. She does throw low kicks. She will throw kicks to her opponent's legs. But she is based in boxing. Yeah, she's based in boxing. Matter of fact, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. You got to bear with me. I don't have notes during my videos. I don't read off no cards, nothing like that. All my videos are freestyle, almost exclusively. My thing is, I suspect Silva may have better boxing. Yes, I said it. How about that check hook from Natalia Silva? Both fighters in the orthodox stance. Grasso kept getting lit up with the check hook. That check hook was on point for Natalia Silva. She showed better boxing technique. Natalia had better boxing than Alexa Grasso. And on top of that, she utilizes kicks. Well, I think overrate Grasso's boxing. What makes Grasso's boxing so prominent as far as when you're talking about it, it's because that's what she primarily depends on. Silva doesn't, she's not primarily depending on her boxing. She is like 50-50. Boy, sometimes I scare myself. That's exactly what y'all saw, man. And that is exactly what gave Grasso problems. Relies half on her hands, and she relies half on her legs as far as kicking you. And she's just not throwing low kicks. She is throwing kicks to your head as well, everywhere, to your body, and with a whole lot of speed. And didn't that cause Grasso a whole lot of problems? Speed kills. Don't y'all suspect Grasso may be... I don't know why people are so sure that Grasso's faster. Grasso might be overwhelmed. That is what was happening. Overwhelmed by the speed of the punches and the kicks. I mean, if Natalia Silva loses this fight, in my opinion, this is that's going to be a loss, a significant loss. That's going to be a significant loss. I say all the time, it's not about whether you win or lose, it's how you win or lose. This will be a horrible way to lose. Okay? Because Grasso is not going for no takedowns. So guess what, Natalia? You don't have to worry about being taken down. So you can let go with those kicks. You can let go with them hands. You can get fancy with those kicks. Wasn't she getting fancy? You can get creative. Feel comfortable as you doing it. Get into it. Get in the zone. Get locked into a zone. Ain't that what I said? Get into it. Get locked into a zone. Natalia was locked in last night. Boy, when I say locked in, she was in a serious zone. That was the best performance of her career. That was Natalia's best performance of her career. She was locked in, extremely focused. You don't have to nullify or dampen your stand-up, your offense, because you're worried about takedowns. You don't have to worry about your opponent shooting in, diving at your ankles. Right? Grasso is not about to do that. And if Grasso does, that's going to let you know that they seriously respect Natalia Silva's skill set. And isn't that what Alexa Grasso tried to do? Once Grasso figured out that Natalia Silva on the feet was too much, and that's what happened. I think it was the second round, right? Alexa Grasso was like, this girl is too much on the feet. Let me try to take her down. It may have been the first round. I can't remember. She tried to take Natalia Silva down. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, there it is. There it is. She's basically admitting this girl's too much on the feet. To the point where they were willing to try a game plan, utilize a game plan that they've never implemented. Grasso never went in there with a game plan to out-wrestle and grapple her opponents. Even though she's won some fights by submissions. She will jump up on your back, try to choke you out. And by the way, I think that is Listen, that was an incredible fight to me. That was an incredible... After that fight ended, I was screaming. That was an epic and very finale-like performance by Natalia Silva. I ain't trying to hear none of these people being critical of that performance at all. She was throwing Grasso off. She kept Grasso out of her positioning. That's why Grasso's offense was so low. The movement reduced Grasso's output, and that gave Natalia an advantage. She was in complete control of this fight. I mean, Grasso is tough. She's tough, don't get me wrong. But she was outskilled, outgifted in this fight. Somebody said most boring fight. Not trying to hear that. Yep, crazy sidekick. It's like Grasso didn't even train for her. Another Silva was just too much. And I said before the fight, it's a bad style matchup for Alexa Grasso. Bad style matchup. I saw Silva as like the kryptonite for Alexa Grasso. And I was right. Grasso got whooped. She got lumped up. People talking about running. Around the second round, third round, man, I was feeling bad for Grasso. I was like, man, go land some shots so she can feel better. Man, she was getting whooped and so outclassed. She shut Grasso out in a way Valentina did not. Even though Valentina spent 10 rounds, 15 rounds. Well, not, what am I talking about? Like 11 rounds, right? 11, 12 rounds. Silva shut Grasso out in her own realm. She didn't have to lay and pray to shut Grasso out. Can we talk? Can we have a discussion today? Isn't that what Manon was being critical of Valentina? Isn't that what many fans were saying about Valentina's performance in their trilogy, in their third fight? Lay and pray. I'm not impressed. That performance. Well, Talia didn't have to do that. Still shut her out. Silva's going to be a problem for Valentina. You watch what I tell you. Serious problem. All respect in the world for Valentina. She's a legend. Even though that was a boring fight. That was a lackluster fight. But Shevchenko is the best right now to have that belt right now. I'm glad she got that belt. Diced up Grasso. She doesn't throw a lot of power but fast. Natalia only rises when her opponent forces her, because that's exactly her game. But I don't think against fighters like Shevchenko. Okay, whatever. So, you know what? We're going to look at another one. We're going to look at another comment section. We gotta look at the comment section of the UFC. She may have not gotten performance of the night, but I'm giving Natalia Silva performance of the night. That was performance of the night. That was an epic performance by Natalia Silva. Give that girl the bag. Man. Epic, historic performance by Natalia Silva. Silva picking Grasso apart. Silva just doing cardio the whole fight. Got over 2,000 likes. This right here is hate. See, this is that MMA crowd. That drunk, no skill having, late night at the bar crowd. What Silva was doing was not running. That's why Grasso was lumped up. And I knew this would happen. I predicted that movement that you saw would happen. And it would give Grasso problems. Didn't y'all see Grasso being a plotter? Step. See, those fighters who are plotters, and they're in there against somebody with legs like Silva. Silva can just set up strikes and attacks all night nonstop, and that is what was happening. Lumped up. You see, once Silva decided to stop moving, she lumped Grasso up. She pop her here, smack around there, kick her in the face here. Those opportunities was being made possible because of the movement. You goofballs don't get that. That was a masterclass performance by Natalia Silva. Masterclass. Y'all can talk that running stuff all you want. We know what y'all on. I know what you on. I am here that this is an accurate statement right here. Grasso got schooled. She got schooled. And if you ask me, Grasso got punished. That was a significant loss. That wasn't like no war. Even though it was a good fight, it's definitely a thorough fight. And Grasso got some good looks in here and there, but it unfolded exactly like I thought it would. It was a striking clinic. Silva's piecing up Grasso so bad. That's exactly what happened. She was piecing her up. Okay, look at this. She's ready to run a marathon. She isn't a fighter. No. These is haters and suspected racists. Oh, I'm going to say it. I don't care how much it hurt. Suspected racist. There's no reason to criticize that performance. No reason at all. Natalia Silva is an incredible fighter, especially for a woman. She is like a female Israel Adesanya. With how she moves, those kicks and everything, literally like a female Israel Adesanya. And you've seen the same movements by Adesanya and other fighters. I'm not trying to hear nothing they talking about. Get on with yourselves. Find you some business. And in this exchange, Grasso got the worst of it. You got to slow it down. More running comments. What y'all expect her to do? Just stand there and trade back and forth like she did in this scenario? And what? Grasso get lucky, land a lucky punch and knock her out? See, what these types of fans want is they want Silva to stop using the skills that give her an advantage over Grasso. Stop using those skills that gives you an advantage over Grasso and stand there so she could hit you and beat you. No. So y'all can beat it with these comments. Silva just put on a clinic. Silva ran a marathon. Boy, there's such haters. There's so many haters and doofuses in the UFC fan base, man. Get out of here. And I'm saying racist because a lot of people are basically dubbing Natalia Silva black, even though she's not. A lot of them are looking at her as a black chick. Look at this. Silva was dancing. And y'all got low fight IQs. I very much appreciated that performance. That was not running. She was blending movement. She was setting strikes up, keeping Grasso offset. Again, why do y'all think y'all complain so much about Grasso's low output? It was because of the movement. Look at this. If I was Grasso, I would have just stood there and waited because she just ran the whole fight. Okay. See, this is disingenuous. How she run the whole fight if she's lumped up and bleeding and just lost the fight? What are you talking about? Why didn't Grasso use her legs and follow her? She could have done that. She could have moved with Natalia Silva and, fought her as she moved. Fighters do it all the time. Instead, Grasso was plodding, stepping, wasn't cutting her off. And when your opponent is mobile, you have strikes available to you to hit them. What are you saying? They're impossible to hit when they move? Yeah, I ain't trying to hear that. More running comments. No. Somebody said, this is not boxing. This is MMA. Alexa, keep boxing. Almost no kicks, no takedowns, no ground game. I don't know why most Mexicans just keep boxing. This is MMA, not boxing. Well, Silva just put on a clinic. Thank you. That's exactly what that was. Stop saying she was running. That's her fight style. And again, that's her fight style. And I was critical of how much she moved against Jessica Andrade. But she didn't move that much in here. And there were many spots where she was going forward and standing her ground against Grasso. And Grasso still didn't have nothing for her. And in fact, when Silva decided to do that, Grasso took more punishment. Whenever Silva decided to stand in one spot or move forward, Grasso took more punishment because Silva was simply too much for her. Grasso didn't lose because she couldn't catch her, because Silva wasn't there. Stop it. Caused plenty of damage, more than anybody has caused on Grasso. Yeah, more than anybody has put on Grasso. She was seriously damaged. Had poor Grasso leaking all over the place. But as you can see, there are a lot of comments talking about, oh, she's running. Y'all can keep going with that if you want. But if Silva do that to Valentina, which she did to Grasso, guess what? That belt about to be lifted up off of Valentina's waist real fast, real quick fast. So I don't know, man. Y'all need to get over yourselves. You can think this girl is some type of runner if you want to. She go in there and lump up your favorite fighter, have her leaving the cage the way Grasso, looking like Grasso. Guess what? She gonna lose that fight. Look how clean Silva's face was after the fight. Look how clean her face was after the fight. What y'all talking about? Oh, we want to show that. Look at some pictures here. She was getting through that guard last night. Some of them shots was slipping right down the middle through that guard. That was from Silva's training. They saw that was a bad habit of Alexa Grasso. Some of those kicks that was slamming against the side of Alexa Grasso's guard was getting through, and they hurt. Some of those kicks, you thought they was all being blocked. It was getting through, and they hurt. Yeah. Somebody said, do you have a chickie babe? I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means. No idea what a chickie babe is. All right. Bad night for Grasso. Look at that. Boop. Took that kick. Snapped Grasso's head back. See, boxing. All these boxers, they're always vulnerable to this. Y'all tell me, is she running now? Is this what it looked like when you run from somebody? Okay. Somebody said, I don't want to sound like a hater, but this is boring. I wasn't bored at all. I don't know about nobody else. I can't speak for nobody else. I was on the edge of my seat the whole fight. And I watched this fight closely. I didn't take my eyes off the action. Not even for a second. Not even for a second. Totally satisfied with this fight, and I'm going to watch it again. Not trying to hear nothing y'all is talking about. This was a masterclass performance, extremely dominant performance. Well, yeah, it was dominant. Even though Grasso was in the fight, she was just being shut out. She was being shut out like every minute. Grasso lost like every minute of the fight. Okay, that's just what it is. And the worst part about that, it was all on the feet. All on the feet. So yeah, standout fight. And standout card, to be honest. It was a standout card, in my opinion. I know a lot of people are aware that Weili challenged her after the fight. So now we have a problem, because that would mean that Weili plans on putting Verna on the shelf. Go ahead and sit over here, Verna. You're going to have to wait until after I fight Valentina Shevchenko. Okay. And that would also mean that Natalia Silva would have to be put on the shelf. Because here it is. Silva and Shevchenko just fought on the same card. So the fair thing to do would be to make Shevchenko against Silva next. Shevchenko against Silva next. But that won't happen if they make this super fight against Weili Zhang. So I can see some people being disappointed in the near future. Oh boy. And how about them other fights? How about those other fights? Oh, I was satisfied. I told y'all Jasmine was going to whoop Jessica Andrade. I picked Jasmine in that fight. And I pointed out to y'all, Jasmine is currently in her prime. She's in her prime. I know she's like goofy, but she's good. She's good at what she does. And it looks like she's better than a lot of the fighters in the division. And that's all it takes. But with Jessica Andrade, she needs to retire. Andrade need to retire. Not to take away from Jasmine's performance, but Andrade, she's done. She's done. And honestly, I feel like it's more important to save this fight for a whole different stream, maybe. But Valentina Shevchenko, I told y'all that I was not comfortable with Manon's pattern fighting style. And that was why. Shevchenko does well against those types of fighters. She showed it against Joanna. Like, Manon does the same things against every opponent. Shevchenko usually deconstructs those fighters. And I should have kept my pick. I should have stayed with Shevchenko. And I'm going to stop changing my pick. That always seems to backfire. But Manon, even before she started to bleed, that's why she started to bleed. Because she's a pattern fighter. Shevchenko knew where her openings would be and was able to clock her in the nose. And once her nose started bleeding, Manon was basically, she had been diminished. And then she noticed that she couldn't muscle Shevchenko. She started to try to take Shevchenko down. I guess ground and pound, maybe try to submit her or whatever. That wasn't working. Shevchenko was too strong. Too strong. So basically, Manon got outstruck, basically. Rather boring fight, but Manon got outstruck, and I saw that coming. I don't know why I changed my pick. I shouldn't have done that. But after the fight, of course, there was some. She doesn't want her to retire. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Because they made that stupid bet or whatever about her retiring. Let fans. Yeah. What did she say here? Wait a minute.
I have to ask. Whaley's already sent her message out to you. She said congratulations, and then everything's lined up, and then. No.
Yeah, I don't think so. Whaley should go ahead and fight Verna, and Shevchenko should go ahead and fight. Well, maybe, I don't know, because that might ruin the super fight. You know what I'm saying? If Whaley fight Verna, let's say Verna win. Are we going to be excited about Verna against Shevchenko? I'm not. Verna against Natalia? No. Natalia? No. They might want to jump on this super fight right now while they have the opportunity. But what if Whaley takes the title? What's Whaley going to do? Stay at 125? I don't know why Whaley's campaigning for 125. I'm guessing she wants to change weight classes. That has to be what it is. Whaley wants to change weight classes, and she wants her first fight to be for the title. And then if she wins, she's saying that she's going to stay at 125. That has to be what Whaley is doing. That's where all the action is. That's where all the fighters are. So Whaley fights Valentina, takes the belt, and then Natalia fights Whaley. Maybe that's where it's going. I don't know. They seem to be all over the place right now. But I'm happy that Shevchenko was able to keep the belt. Because if Natalia beats Shevchenko, that'll be a far more significant title victory. Far more significant than if she were to take the belt from Manon. So Manon dug a hole for herself and it backfired. She's doing a whole lot of talking before that fight. Yeah, she got Floyd Mayweather. I don't want to see Silva fight down. Silva versus Valentina next. Most definitely. Has to happen. So this was good for the flyweight division. I'm looking forward to see what happens next. But if you ask me, oh man, because I understand if they want the super fight now, and I'd like to see that fight, Weili against Valentina. But Valentina already right now has a tough challenge. Silva is probably just as dangerous for Valentina as Weili. And honestly, a more competitive, crazier fight would be, or equally as crazy, Silva against Weili Zhang, and which could happen one day. Could you imagine that fight? There are a lot of good fights, not a lot of them, but there are several. That's a crazy fight. Weili against Natalia Silva, or Weili Shevchenko. And let's not overlook Verna. You know, I'm sure she's wondering why people are not putting her name. But most people are not excited about fighters who are that one-dimensional, which is weird because they was excited about Tatiana Suarez. Yeah, we got to stop forgetting about Verna, man. She might whoop Weili, take that belt, and keep that belt. We don't know. But Dana, I know how Dana thinks. I know if they want Shevchenko against Weili, and I believe that's why Weili is doing that. I don't think Weili would campaign to fight Valentina if she didn't get the okay from Dana White, or at least somebody up there. They got something going on. So I'm not going to look forward to nothing. I'm just sit back and see what they're going to do. And I'll land my plane there.